Hey, I'm Draven. I typically make high gain amp demos here on YouTube. In case you missed, I did a live stream the other day going through kind of how I mix the demo songs on the channel. We went through it from start to finish, getting all the levels right and, making the guitar tones and stuff like that. And I did make this stream accessible, so you can go watch it if you'd like. But it was almost like 3 hours long, so I went ahead and trimmed it down as much as possible, so that way you don't have to watch the entire 3-hour stream. I got it down to about an hour and a half, and tried to make it as easy as possible to follow along with. And also with this video, I wanted to kind of mention that I'm thinking about streaming probably like every Wednesday and doing some like songwriting with that and just kind of hanging out. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to consolidate the live stream so it's an easier watch. Yeah, and I hope you can pick up some cool tricks from it, and hopefully it helped you have an easier time getting your demo mixes going. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy it.
All right, so today we're going to be mixing. I did a demo of a variable guitars the other day. It's kind of like a, metalcore kind of thing. So I took out all of the plugins and kind of started from scratch. And yeah, we're gonna kind of just go through it. It's gonna be mostly kind of like just like a demo mix, and not so much a like full-blown mix. Usually with like full mixes and stuff, I do like really in-depth like drum sample choices and stuff like that, and reamping and all that. Today we're just gonna go with one library and just some amp sims and stuff like that, which I haven't decided on which ones, but I grabbed a new drum plugin today that we'll go ahead and try out, which is the Odehome kit. Where is it? There we go. Not entirely sure that this will work super well with this mix, but figured it was worth a shot. And worst case, we can just switch over to the drums that I used in the actual like demo that I did. Yeah, so currently everything sounds very silly, has nothing on it. We're gonna basically start all this with the drums. Those drums sound crazy. I'm just going to turn them down a little bit so they're not clipping. Cool. So typically how I go about like the mixes for like just amp demos and all that kind of stuff is I'll just pick a drum library that sounds good, which that sounds cool, and then I just build everything from there. So like firstly we'll go through like the bass, and in the meantime I will turn all of these other tracks down because we're not worried about them currently, and we just want drums and bass. We're using the Umansky bass. I'm super lazy and don't like tracking bass, so I just do MIDI bass 99% of the time. With bass processing, typically I pretty much start the same way every time. With this bass specifically, I cut out some low end and just like accentuate the like clanky sounds that it gets. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And I just do that for things that we'll be doing later. It kind of just helps out later on. All right, so I'm just making a couple extra tracks with bass. Typically, I split it into 3 different like ranges. So that way, like the low end, I can keep as clean as possible, but compress it a ton. And then the mid-range, depending on how I'm feeling, I'll either distort it like crazy or leave it like kind of clean. And then the high end, I'll pretty much always use like a dark glass, like super clanky distortion. And then we're going to run all of those into a bass bus. If you're like unfamiliar with Reaper, if you want everything to go to like one track, and you just want to be able to control, like, say, those 3 tracks with one track, you can just put them in these little folders, and that does it. Or you can do like routing, which routing is helpful, I think, in like master bus kind of stuff, or like if you're doing like sends and returns with like reverbs and stuff. But typically something like this, I just put it in these little folders. Like I was saying with the send and return, basically this is our main bass track, and we're going to send it to these 3 tracks. So that way we don't have to run 3 versions of Kontakt, and then my computer will explode. And so we'll just turn off the master send for it, and then send it to 5, 6, and 7, which I will rename sub, mid, and grit. And then we're going to go and mute the mid and grit, so that way I can just hear the sub, which currently is just going to sound like normal bass. And I pretty much do, for the sub, I do like the same processing pretty much every time. I just kind of cut out any mid and high information, so that way I can just control the sub frequencies or low frequencies. And so we'll kind of listen to what this specific bass with this specific playing, like how low it basically needs to be. So right there is just kind of we're just getting the super low stuff that adds like a lot of weight to the bass sound. And then we want it to be like super consistent. So we're going to compress it pretty heavily. On bass, I typically do, at least on the low end, I do a kind of medium attack. I guess that would be a slower release. And then something to keep in mind with compressing it, anytime you add compression or like a plugin like this that kind of is emulating a like analog piece of gear, it pretty much always adds some sort of saturation. So we're going to have to EQ the bass again afterwards to cut out all of the extra harmonics that it's going to add in, which I'll show you. But first we'll get the level of the compression. So I'm sure you can hear it. It's like, it sounds like it's kind of distorting. But if we go in with another EQ, so this is like after the compression. And then if I turn the compressor off, you'll see that it like tightens up. Not getting as much information up here. And so if we just do basically the exact same cut we did before, again, you just get kind of a super consistent low end that doesn't have any sort of distortion. And then we'll go ahead and do the grit track. I like to leave the mid for like last to see what I need, like to fill it all in. This is the Audio Assault. This plugin goes on sale for like $5 like every couple months, which is really nice, and it works really well. And to tighten it up a little bit, kind of like using like a boost pedal, you can throw an EQ before it and just cut out some low end, so we're just getting that top end clank. That sounds pretty good to me. And then yeah, we'll go to the mid-range of the bass. We'll try out like super distorted mid-range, see how that goes. A cool thing you can do with the mid-range on a bass is just run it through a guitar like amp sim. And if you use a cab that you might use, like if you match the cab on the mid bass to the actual guitars, they just kind of like sit well together. So let's go ahead and see how this sounds. Very like honky, so we'll just blend that in with those two, the sub and grit. So that sounds pretty cool. And so now we got the bass tone going, so we'll listen to it with the drums and see how like the kick drum and the bass are going together. That was Bomber screaming. He is a madman. He barks at everything. Anyways, so the drums and bass sound pretty good together so far. I like to add some saturation to the bass. There's this preset on Decapitator called Beefy, and it is really good. It does make it louder though, so. And then we'll have to kind of adjust things because the low end gets a little distorted. Yeah, so I can hear the low end is kind of getting a little distortion. So we can solo it and listen to just the bass going, or the low end of it going through, and just pull it back so it's not getting distorted. Which like about there sounds pretty good. And then we'll have to adjust the mid and high so it's kind of level. And then as you can hear, it's pretty quiet. I try my best to, like on buses and stuff, leave the like faders as close to like 0 as possible, so that way I can do like little fine tweaks later. And so we will just put a limiter on the bass bus, and it's not going to be like limiting it too much. It's just going to be kind of a glorified volume knob. Okay. With getting the, like when turning the bass up like that, basically what I'm looking for is the low end of the bass to be sitting kind of like right under the kick drum, like volume wise. So that way you're still getting like the impact of the kick, but you can fully hear the low end of the bass. The clank was sounding a little low, so I'll probably bring that up a little bit. That sounds pretty good for now. After all that with the bass, I like to cut out some 200. I don't even have like a good reason for it. I just do it, and it always makes it sound better for some reason. Like this area just doesn't sound very nice to me. And I also think it just helps with like space for the guitars. So a lot of like palm mutes are kind of in that area. It's kind of it for drums and bass. I try to keep it as like simple as possible. Surprised these drums are working as well as they are. Like by themselves, they sound way too aggressive, but so far with like the bass and stuff, they're sounding pretty good. There's like very fat sounding. I think that's it for that. So we'll move on to the guitars. On this one, I guess I triple tracked it. I did 6 guitar layers, which lately I've been kind of doing a lot. Just sounds really cool. And so like typically what I do with it is the 2 like main guitars are just like kind of your standard metal tone, and then the like second layers are like an HM2 kind of thingy, and then the third layer is an octave down, which is very obnoxious, but it sounds really cool. Similar to the bass, we're going to throw these in a little bus. We'll start with one guitar kind of in the center to get an idea of what we're doing, and then copy the tone over to the other one. Trying to decide whether I should use a different guitar plugin or not. I use Gojira like a lot because it just like very easily sounds good, but I do have a bunch of other guitar plugins. We'll start with Gojira, and if it's cool, it's cool. Might add some different stuff in. Yeah, so let's see kind of what this is sounding like. Yeah, Grandifier is really cool. I have the plugin, but I've used it like only a couple of times. But maybe let's go with that. I am gonna use the cab from this because I really like the Gojira cab, and I know the Grano cab is not the greatest. So let's turn off this stuff. So we'll turn the cab off on that. So far, the Grano plugin definitely sounds very cool. I'm gonna put it in the second track as well so we can pan them and see how it's going. I want them the same hard pan. Definitely hard pan. What is the number? 794. There we go. Sounds a little, the Grano so far sounds good, but a little like tubby. Gonna mess with the level and master. On the real amp, you can crank the master and use the channel level as the master knob, and it basically turns it into like a rectifier kind of thingy. It's really weird. Or you can run the level up and then control it with the master. Since it's kind of already a little tubby, we're going to pull the master down and adjust it with the level. Yeah, I think that helped a little bit. We'll go ahead and copy that over. Sounds pretty good. I feel like so far everything feels a bit stiff, but that also could be I never mix with headphones, so this is all odd. I'm going to throw a limiter on the drums, since I do typically do that, but not till later. And I find that it helps, like, kind of bring some life to them. Very dry. Headphones. I think these are the Sennheiser HD 650s, if I remember correctly. Alright, I think that helped a little bit. Basically what I did was, this is the JST like bus glue thing. It's like a compressor, but it has a mix knob. And so you can kind of blend in this like super compressed sound, which kind of brings up the like later parts. I don't know how to explain it very well. I feel like it's just adding some more of the like room sound into it without literally adding more room in. So we'll go ahead and leave the guitars like that and add in the next layer of guitars, which will be that kind of HM2 thing. I'll go ahead and use Gojira, and then the recently that Distant plugin came out. There's like a really cool HM2E kind of thing in it. I don't really like the amp sim and the cab, but the pedals are really cool. So it's this pedal. So we'll just get kind of a normal guitar tone going. And then add in this pedal. like mid-aggression. Sounds pretty cool. And I will copy that over and we'll kind of blend that into the normal guitar tone and see how that sounds. With these ones, I kind of always do them a little different. So I don't have like a this is the way to do it kind of thing. With those, I just kind of put them at a volume where it's like almost noticeable when it's like going in and out like this. Basically just trying to make the like main chugs of the riff like sound bigger than they actually are. Also, I should probably mention that I don't do this on amp demos. That would be, I'd probably be murdered or something. I think that's probably illegal. Amp demos are typically just the amp, and that's about it. And so for the third layer, these are super simple. Again, we'll do the Gojira plugin because it's easy. This is pretty much just an ad for the Gojira plugin at this point, I think. I use it a lot, so, you know. So with these, should probably turn the volume on them. Practically just noise, but it does make it sound very very thick. Again, just barely in there, but in the whole mix, sounds very cool. I feel like that brought the mix, like we gave it a little more motion, which also it'll be a huge help later once we get into kind of the like light mastering. That definitely helps a lot with kind of getting some movement going. So with the leads, I am extremely like not creative with lead guitar tones. I don't know what I'm doing there, so I just a lot of the time I'll like straight up just go to Gojira and I will like just turn on the chorus, turn on the reverb, turn on the delay, make sure that the delay is synced with the project. It's pretty funny. Part is hilarious. I'm not much of a lead player or good at tapping, so the timing on this this tapping part is atrocious. For this lead, I think it needs less low end and maybe a little less high, or a little more high end to cut through a little bit. Yeah, that's the extent of my lead playing and guitar tone making. But I get a little creative when it comes to making weird noises. For instance, this part, one of my favorite things to do in the weird music that I play is use a slide, because I feel like nobody else uses it. So I do that a lot. So that's my lead stuff there. All right, now we need kind of a lo-fi tone for the beginning. So let's copy over our main rhythm guitar with the grandifier, and then kind of just filter out the top end and low end. Cool. Looks like we have... Oh yeah, this is basically the same thing later in the song, but I, for some reason, made it a separate track when I could have just turned it down later in the song. But we're doing that again. And it looks like next we have kind of all the noises from, other instruments that I kind of midied in. I do a lot of like orchestral and like industrial stuff in a lot of my videos. or in a lot of the stuff I write. I just feel like it makes the song sound way cooler. So here we have some like, I called them stabs. I think it's like a synth, or actually no, I think this is like violins or something. Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. I feel like it just adds a lot to a part. And I kind of just layered a bunch of that kind of stuff in. So we've got I think this is like a droney synth kind of thing. Kind of with all of these things, like the leads and these like strings and orchestral stuff, I think a big thing with these is less of like EQing them and stuff like that. It's very reliant on the level that they're sitting at for them to like actually fit in the mix. You kind of have to like almost bury them, like just have them right at the edge of poking through. We have another swell at the end. This one in the mix, I ended up like kind of swelling even more, so I just wanted it to kind of happen at the end. And then during this like chorus part, I added like this, I guess it's like an arpeggio kind of thing. Could not play it on guitar, but figured I could MIDI it. Or it's almost a riff, I don't know. So that's just kind of to give the chorus some more like interest. And we got some orchestral drums that I put in this like weird break part that I just kind of wanted to emphasize the like what the normal drums were playing. Yeah, so those drums sound like this. It's like a super simple rhythm to go under. Just adds like, it's like a cool way to add like a more roomy sound to the drums without like having to mess with, you know, drum volumes and stuff if you've already got them kind of nailed down and don't want to mess with it. All right, so this is the hardest part of the mix. We have to get the bass drops in. It's the worst part. I was joking. Now they go boom. We got a riser hit. Adding stuff like that into a mix, definitely like, at least if you're doing this style of music, kind of makes or breaks it, just because like it really emphasizes like the beginning of parts and just makes stuff come in much more aggressive. Next we have this little riser thingy, which is just like a dust from like a record player kind of thing. Yeah, putting that kind of thing in just like makes it a little more dramatic. And looks like we have like another swelly hit kind of thing. Yeah. Riser. It's so funny how like silly a lot of these songs or these like noises sound on their own, and then you put it in, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Cool. All right, and then this is my favorite thing to do. I wrote a song a couple of years ago that I was like, oh, I want kind of like that, like EDM dubstep-y kind of thing over like a normal just metal riff. And I found that if you just throw in these like kick and snare samples in even just like a normal riff, it makes it sound really cool. So I just have this like kick sample that had like a pretty long trail, and I ended up chopping it off so that way it would stop when the snare sample comes in, and it sounds pretty cool. And we can add in the snare. And I layered 2 snares because why not? Yeah, I mean, that's like most of the work there. It's just kind of getting the levels right and just like the general sounds down. So yeah, now we'll move into kind of the more processing side of everything, which there really isn't much that we're going to end up doing, but kind of helps it get a little larger sounding. I will say, like, a big thing with doing this kind of stuff, I get asked to do like a video like this a lot, and you know, it's from people that are doing just like demos at home, trying to make their own like thing, not even trying to like necessarily do a full mix and master and stuff, but realistically, like what we just kind of went through, that's the bulk of it. Like if you can get yourself to this point, you're good. Like, I wouldn't stress over it, which also just shows how freaking good libraries and plugins and stuff have gotten. Like, we didn't really do much, if anything, to the drums. Bass tone was super simple. I'm sure we could have even gotten away with a bass tone like the Umansky bass, like has bass tones built in, and then obviously didn't have to, use different cabs and stuff. All right, so we'll go ahead and do some routing really quick. Recently, I've been doing kind of a master of just the like main instruments, because like we'll do kind of like a master at the end, but it'll be a lot lighter, and it'll just be kind of taming bass drops and stuff like that. And that way, doing the separate master for just the instruments. So I guess just kind of a more so a mix bus. You can be a little more aggressive with it without, blowing your compressor from the bass drops and stuff like that, and just getting a bunch of like ducking, which is not great. Call this one mix bus, and we're gonna go ahead and route the drums to it. Turn off the master for that. Gonna send the bass bus to it and the guitar bus. So if we solo this, it should just be guitars, drums, and bass. Yeah, we're at a good volume, which is rare. Usually I'm clipping because I'm terrible. So we're gonna grab Townhouse bus compressor, which this is basically just an SSL comp. So if you have like the Waves SSL compressor, that would do the exact same thing. And we're gonna set it to 3 attack auto release, and that's about it. And we're gonna aim to get the compression to sit like just below 4 dBs. I want it to be like you barely can tell that it's there. Basically with this, what I'm looking for is like glue. We're kind of gluing everything together. Just makes everything kind of sound like it's one thing and not like a couple of different instruments just happening to be playing at the same time. Like this makes it make sense. And so from there, we're going to go into a multi-band compressor. I like this one a lot. This one's really cool. It has this multi-electro mastering preset that just makes it sound way more exciting. I don't even know what it's doing. It's just real good. I'll turn it off and then turn it on. you can see, it's like just tapping each of the little like areas, but it's it does it in a real good way. I don't really know how else to explain it, but basically just compressing, but at different frequencies. And then from there, we're going to grab center, which this is like it's kind of like a stereo imager, but a lot of the other stereo imagers that I've used end up sounding really weird. Like they make things kind of like phasey or just odd sounding. This one, like other ones seem to be trying to like spread everything in a weird way. Whereas this, it almost like just turns up the sides. So it's more of a mid-side EQ than like a weird enhancer kind of thing. It just makes it sound like the guitars kind of have more of like a wall of sound to them. And then from there, we're gonna just add a little bit of saturation. It's like very light, this Softube one. I'm pretty sure this plugin's free. And it has this switch where you can like not saturate the low end or you can not saturate the high end. I don't want to add any low end distortion, so we're keeping the low. This is going to make it louder, but also what I'm using it for is just to kind of smooth some frequencies out, kind of. Also kind of helps thicken it up a little bit. And then I'm just going to grab a gain plugin so that way I can turn it down. That way we're just not clipping anything. And then from there we're going to go ahead and purposely clip it. So far in this mix, it doesn't like the drums are the preset has a pretty good mix. So the kick drum's not sticking up as usual. Like usually most other plugins, the kick drum is so loud and like just sticking up in the mix. But I think since we added that parallel compression and the limiter, it's kind of pulling it down a little bit. So we're not having to do too much clipping. Kind of like I was saying at the end of the mix, I like to just kind of tame those so they're not going crazy. And then I'm actually not going to add limiting yet because the limiting plugin I use makes my computer go crazy. It starts distorting and sounding terrible. But we'll go ahead and A/B all of that stuff we did on the instruments. What limiter do I use? It's I don't even know what it's called. It's Brainworks BX limiter True Peak. This guy. And it's got like some built-in saturation and a little bit of tone controls and stuff. It's pretty nice. But it's like weirdly very CPU heavy. I don't know why. And so now that we got the main instruments in, we'll kind of go back through the like extra stuff and make sure their levels are good. And then we can kind of start fine-tuning everything, cutting out some low-end stuff that needs it and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds pretty good. I don't know. This is usually the part of the mix that I just give up and then go play video games. So we'll go ahead and just see if we can tighten up the bass in the mix a little more. Make that like clanky, pop through some more and stuff. EQ's not going to bring that up enough without doing something crazy, so we're just going to go ahead and raise the actual volume of the grit track. I kind of want to add, hold on, got a silly idea. If this works, I'm probably going to start doing this like all the time. That's loud. Sounds hilarious. Should we do a phaser or like a chorus? I feel like a chorus might be kind of cooler. I'm just going to grab the Gojira one. Episode 5000 of me just using Gojira for everything. Okay, that's cool. Just for that part, though. If you don't know what this is just automation. You can like control volume. You can control anything with it. It's insane. During, certain sections and stuff. So. I'm pleased. That's good. I like that. I think the bass honestly sounds pretty good. Like so far the drums and bass seem like nice and locked in. So we'll go ahead and kind of mess with the guitars a little bit, see if we can get them to fit even better. Alright, so I just took some like kind of the extreme, well, not extreme top end, but some of the top end higher mids, just boost them a little bit. Helps the texture come through better. And just cut out a little bit of boxiness. Kind of go through and listen to each of those frequencies by themselves. So silly sounding area. And then just cut out low end that you can't really hear, at least in the mix. Kind of useless information up here. I need to use that not the Gojira one. I need to use the Granifier plugin more. That sounds really good. I will say the most noticeable thing with the Granifier compared to like I have the real thing, which I have the like first version of it. I don't have any of the updates on it. One of the things that I talked about with this plugin with Mike, and his fix for it. So I guess when Neural DSP made this plugin, they biased the power tubes a little too hot or something along those lines, and so the amp ends up being a little like overgained and over like saturated, maybe a little muddy. But the easy fix for that is to just lower the like your actual input a bit, and then just make sure you're kind of running the gain a little lower, and then you end up in the same spot as you would have. So I mean, on the real amp, I usually, if I'm boosting it, I'll use it in the low settings, and then my gain is usually like just above, like in between like noon and 2. So definitely makes sense that I set it to like where I did on this one, considering that it has, more of like hotter tubes. Which reminds me, I just realized that this has tube options. Oh, there it goes. So we'll go ahead and good Lord. Need to change the size so I can see the whole thing. There we go. Alright. Let's listen to just the main guitars and kind of swap those tubes and see what happens. Let's hear it in the mix. The KT88s have a little too much of like a scratchy high end, it seems. The slight like mid boost in the EL34s might work well in this. Is it just me, or does the 606 sound like harder? Like the EL34s sound kind of like squishy almost? Like the EL34s are like smoother, but they're also like squishy, it seems. I think I also like the 606 more, which is extra funny because when I first got my Grandifier, it had EL34s and like sounded really good, but it was like way too mid aggressive. Like it was all mids. And then I swapped it to 606s and it's like way more like well-rounded, and it has like a ton of low end, which is really nice. Just to be safe, we'll go ahead and kind of cut some low end from the lead lines just to clean up some low end space. Oh, I already did it on that one. Look at me go. That one definitely already has it cleaned up. And this one, I already did it. We'll check the like violins and stuff. I don't think that's gonna have like anything. Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't have anything. I think we're good. Could probably cut that a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this doesn't really need anything else. We'll go ahead and put kind of the final master on and see kind of where that gets us. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip it again, just in case those like snare hits are coming through, like the snare bomb kind of things. So they're not super loud and obnoxious if I'm not noticing it. Yeah, see, when the like bass drops are going through, the kick drum is kind of poking out a ton more, just because like there's a low end like buildup. So that's kind of where this clipper kind of comes in and is chopping it off a little bit. I feel like I am hearing a little bit of like a buildup, the like lower end of the guitar. Yeah, I feel like that helped. It's just kind of like getting a little overwhelming with all the layers. I feel like I want this lo-fi thing to be more like, not louder, but more aggressive. So I'm going to take off the EQ from there, and I'm going to grab the good old Pod Farm Line 6 Pod Farm lo-fi setting, which makes everything sound much more aggressive, and also it's extremely loud. Yeah. That sounds much better. I don't think I've ever even looked at the settings on this thing. So we're cutting or boosting a bunch of high end, or is that just at 0, I guess? Okay, yeah, so it's just... I didn't realize that this plugin just sounded like that. Like, these settings are, unless I'm just dumb, these settings are all at like 0 basically, and the plugin that's just how it sounds. I thought it was just like an EQ. That's hilarious. in the actual demo, I made everything fade out at the end. So that's just as simple as a quick brain farting on what that's called. Okay. I think I did like a slow. Automation, yes. God. So I think I did like a slow slope at first, and then hard slope at the end. Tight. I want to hear a little more of the like octavey sound from these octave down tracks. That's cool. I mean, outside of limiting, I think that's about it. We'll see if it will work for us. If it crashes and I disappear, you know why. Working. That was easy. I guess we'll go ahead and just listen through it really quick and see if anything sticks out. I think that sounds sick.